Hey guys, it's Sandra from the Peas of Happiness coming at you today with a Sandrah rant. In case you don't know what that is, it's exactly what it sounds like. I'm just going to rant about some stuff. This is definitely the first time I'm ever going to do it quite so publicly, but if you know me in my personal life, you've probably heard a lot of them. Today I want to talk about humane societies that throw barbecues to save their shelter animals. Because my local humane society did that last week. They basically put on a barbecue in conjunction with one of the local bar and grills, Willie's Ice House, to benefit shelter dogs, which is incredibly silly and unethical and speciesist. So, being the responsible vegan that I am, I rallied, the like 3 vegans I know in real life, and then the many vegans that I know online, and we went over to the Humane Society's website and basically let them know what kind of speciesist event this was and how we all felt about it. Which you can imagine got me a lot of hate that came from the, omnivore society, part of the society that very much supported this. If you're an omnivore watching this, which I actually hope there are lots of omnivores watching this, if you're out there, you may be thinking exactly what they were thinking, which was something to the effect of, why is this girl so concerned with these pigs, chickens, and cows when all they're trying to do is raise money for those poor dogs and cats in the shelter? Why is she trying to give the Humane Society a bad name? The Humane Society has done so much good work, and all she is doing is causing trouble, and there are probably going to be dogs and cats that die because nobody's going to adopt them, because she told everybody not to go to the Humane Society because they were serving barbecue, and everybody eats a barbecue because that's Americans. We love animals, and we eat them. That's what they said. Anyways. And maybe you're thinking that too. Which I hope to explain why that might not be the best route of thinking. Obviously, it's a huge it's a huge conflict of interest when you call it what it really is, which is selling the body parts from one dead animal to raise money for some live animals. And not just the body of another type of dead animal, but the body of an animal who was bred and lived a life in captivity, knowing that it was going to die, raised specifically to die, and then, through this very mechanistic and abusive life, at the end of it was, died in pain and anguish far before its time. In case you don't know, there is nothing humane about the way that animals are treated in this country when they are considered to be a food animal. I hate that term, food animal, but that is the term that most of the omnivores that came to the defense of the Humane Society called them. I think that is a general mentality. Now, of course, that's a pretty speciesist thing to say, but I'll get to the definition of speciesism here in a bit. The lives of farmed animals, again, it can no way be called humane. You're talking about animals that die far before their natural lifespans. Cows, for example, that are bred for beef are going to die as soon as they hit the right weight, which is often within 6 months to a year of their, natural 20-year lifespan. Or, if it's a dairy cow, then, maybe they're going to get a good 4 years in, which are not, I say good, but that's not good at all, because they're a constant cycle of being artificially inseminated, which is raped, and then having those babies being taken away, and then constantly milked. It's a miserable existence for 4 years out of their, again, natural, 20-year lifespan. it's insane. So, that's one small example, but this is like the general, modus operandi for the meat industry. So it like let's just start with, with that. There's nothing humane in that. And so I go to question the ethics, me with this, kind of army of vegans behind me. We are simply questioning the ethics of this. We're not attacking the Humane Society, as we were accused of. We have no vendetta against the Humane Society. The Humane Society here is a no-kill shelter. They do wonderful work to do TNR and to help local communities of cats and dogs, and they offer veterinary assistance and things like that. That's awesome. And we are all, I'm sure, as vegans and animal lovers, extremely appreciative of that. But when you say that, like, the good outweighs the bad that they're doing, like, that's when you have to question why they're called the Humane Society. We're questioning that this event is not ethical, that it's actually quite speciesist. Now, speciesist, if you've never heard that term, is just like sexism or racism. Speciesism is discriminating against members of another species simply because they don't belong to your own. So a speciesist statement, for example, might be something like, that pig's life isn't as important as my palate pleasure. Which there are a lot of people that still say. That's why bacon, though, is still an argument. But of course, so speciesism, this is a huge thing. Like, there are so many arguments that, vegans are tired of hearing over and over again, but, arguments like animals are not as intelligent, so they don't afford ethical consideration, which is ridiculous because human beings don't even use intelligence as a measure for ethical consideration within the human community. We protect those of, mental handicaps and of physical handicaps that aren't, able to contribute to society in a, socially acceptable way. So intelligence and, ability to participate aren't ethical constructs. They're not ethical, part of ethical consideration. So, if we're going to take, this, humans just have domain because, we're the dominant species. Well, again, like, that's just speciesist. That's just saying I like humans because I like humans and humans should be on top. So when you can't question, an organization's ethics that say that they are for animals, they are humane, the definition of humane being like to show compassion to, what compassion are they showing to these pigs, chickens, and cows that they're happily, collecting the profits from? Which, like, I have to say this too. When they do this kind of partnership with a restaurant, like, I remember we did it in high school. Our drama club raised money at CC's Pizza. People come in and they say, "Oh, I'm here for so and so," and they put a portion of those profits towards the organization. So the Humane Society was only making 10% off of the sale of anybody's meal who came in and specifically said they were for the Humane Society. You tell me that they can't raise money in a more efficient way than to sell the body parts of animals and then collect 10% of the profits. There is no reason why fundraising has to be about food. Number one, food doesn't even have to be a part of fundraising. There are so many different, like, hold a dance marathon. Do a theater, like theater in the park with dogs for money. You can do anything. I mean, sell mouse pads. I don't know. It doesn't have to involve food is my point. Like, I'm saying some absurd things right now just to illustrate how absurd it is that you would think that fundraising has to be centered around food. Choose a more ethical type of fundraising. That's what this is really about. You cannot call yourself a humane society and not be for every species. At that point, you're really a dog and cat society. And it just breaks my heart that this is lost on so many people. And I understand, because I've, like I said, I've been there. I understand the speciesist mentality because I ate meat for 25 years of my life. A year and a half into this, I understand these principles, but it's not for a lack of I didn't wake up one morning and understand it. I have done so much research and understanding, not just scientifically, but meeting animals. When you truly meet an animal as an equal, and you try to actually meet them, not coming as a human meeting another species, but coming as two beings meeting one another, you start to understand things that go beyond the scientific explanation of why ethics are important. You see, there is so much of a greater good behind this. It's not simply to bring down an organization because they should care about all animals. It's because all of us have this suppressed compassion that we had as children, because as children, we didn't see a cow as food. We saw it as a friend. We saw dogs and cats as our friends. We saw all animals as being our friends. They were our teachers. We watched Little Mermaid, and we didn't want them, we didn't want any of the fish to get hurt. We watched Finding Nemo, and we wanted him to live. We watched Chicken Run, and nobody wanted them to become pies. Nobody wanted Wilbur to be turned into, bacon at the end of the winter. That's why Charlotte wrote how terrific he was. We lose this sense of who we are as we become more industrial. All of a sudden, this is just an organization trying to fundraise, and everybody who's questioning their ethics should back off. No. I'm saying this is a society that calls itself humane. Let's hold them to that title. Because if we're not holding the people who are supposed to be helping to what they're actually doing, what are we doing? Where are our principles? Where are our ethics at that point? How valuable are they? So, next time somebody questions your ethics, which I know is never fun, maybe take a moment to look into the mirror and actually ask yourself if your actions match your ideas of your ethics. Look at yourself and ask, if I'm an animal lover and I'm still eating animals when I don't need to, which is obvious because every vegan that is alive in the world is proof that you don't need animal products to live. If I'm an animal lover and I don't need to kill an animal to live, should I? Would I? Am I? Will I? It doesn't matter what you did today, it matters what you do tomorrow. So I challenge you, if you are an omnivore watching this, ask yourself those questions. Seriously reflect on your ethics. If you say that you are a humane and compassionate person, knowing that you do not have to kill an animal, you do not have to take their life, ask yourself if you are living your ethics of compassion and humanity. And if you're not, there's help. No judgment, because I was there too. You can come to the Peas of Happiness Facebook. We have all kinds of resources there. You can also check out channels like Bite Size Vegan, she has videos on every possible thing that you could, ask about veganism. You can go to, watch Gary Orofsky's Best Speech Ever. Watch Forks Over Knives. Watch Cowspiracy. Watch anything. Watch Earthlings Do. There is so much information out there. You can do it. No judgment. Sandrah rant over. See you next time.